everybody says, hello, you're live. Hello, everybody, we're live. What a surprise. Can you imagine if we did this kind of stuff and we were not alive? Can you imagine that? That would be
different.
That would be different. That would be a different muscle to train to get from brilliant ideas to actualized reality. And welcome everybody. And for those who just hop in and you don't know what you landed into, well, this is this is a series.
We don't either.
We don't either. We have a frame. We have this frame of, how should we say, there are all these people in the world who have these bright, gorgeous, sparkling ideas. And there's one thing that's missing: actualizing them. So knowing Betsy for a while now, I mean, I can't even tell the years, but it feels like we've known each other for a lifetime. And knowing you and knowing the transformation you've been through during the past months, I was like, oh man, if there is one idea, brilliant idea that I ever had myself and not quite actualized, well, you know more about that. So I'm going to ask you some questions.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to be nasty and naughty. And yes, I would invite everybody to just take a cup of coffee and enjoy, because this is going to be fun. If nothing else, it's going to be fun. Yes. So Betsy, tell me, where are you right now? And tell us a few words about you, because we said that total all-in body transformation. So let's take the people in. Who are you? Where are you? And what is this thing of transformation?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me on this conversation. I'm really honored to be here with you. And so I'm in the United States on the East Coast, close to our nation's capital, which has been interesting lately.
You mean with a capital and all things? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Very interesting energies. And I forgot what the next part was that you wanted me to say.
Doesn't matter. Sorry. You just go into it, and you go into it, and I'll just pitch in whenever I feel naughty.
Well, that's pretty much all the time, isn't it?
I know. I should shut up, right? But this is the brilliance of it all. No, basically, I would really like to tell us about this transformation, what ignited it, and how did you know when the right moment would be? And how many times have you had this brilliant idea, and what makes it that it's now the time to actualize it? Because we had some conversations before, and this thing of timing came to the surface several times, and it's still bubbling under the surface, like, what else is there? So
yeah. Well, I have had the point of view that I've struggled my whole entire life with my weight and body image, and I've pretty much was put on a diet when I was very young. My mother put me on a liquid diet at the age of 10, and even before then, she was rationing my rationing the amount of food I was given. And so it became this like battle between my mother and I. And so that just I set myself up for a lifetime of thinking that it was hard and it was a struggle and I couldn't lose weight, or I gained weight even just by looking at food. And so I went like this with my size and my weight. And then it just, for a certain period of time in my life, I was 500 pounds, which I forgot. I meant to look up to see what that was.
Yeah.
With
Is it important? Do we want to know?
it's a lot. It's like, 2 or 3 people sizes. So, yeah, I don't remember what it is.
Okay. Do you want me to say the number
Yeah,
or
sure.
225 kilos approximately?
Okay.
Okay.
Just so you kind of get an idea of how disconnected I was from my body, and I was so angry at my body for letting me down, and not that how come other people could eat the same thing and not gain weight, and I was gaining weight left and right, and I was very depressed, and so I had a lot of years of all of that stuff. And I would force myself at different times to go on diets, all kinds of things, from very, very drastic liquid diets and other very drastic things. And I lost a couple 100 pounds. So I was, I was smaller and still was not happy. I wasn't happy with my body. I wasn't happy with me. I wasn't happy. And there were a lot of, things were getting better, but there were still like this thing over here that I couldn't overcome, was how I had that point of view.
Wait, I will have to
Yes.
come here because I recognize a certain period of my life when I did everything I could to lose weight, and I reached a certain, how should I say? But what strikes me in your story, in my story, and I can acknowledge that right now, there was absolutely no kindness towards me and my body in whatever I enterprised. Nothing at all.
No.
And what I would like to ask you about is, when you reached that size that you were planning for, let's say you said you lost a couple of 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself in the mirror as the one who has lost the pounds? Because I was still looking at XXLs and XXXXLs when I was actually an M. So how was it for you back then?
Oh, the same. I was just, I think that the word is body dysmorphia. And I definitely had that. I didn't, even when I was really large, I didn't know how large I was, because I was also really good at denying that, I was as large as I was. So again, that whole disconnection, but you hit the nail on the head with the unkindness, and it was all about force. And then there was so much projected at me from everybody, the medical community, people, strangers, all of it, that, you take all of that on, and now I know you take all of that on energetically, and you're fighting against it, or you're agreeing with them, and then like, what is that doing to your body? None of it was a kindness. So that was my life for a very long time, up and down, and on a diet or not on a diet, eating anything I wanted, or not allowing myself to eat, so just all of that very cyclical stuff.
It's like you go back to the first case. I mean, the zero. You start to go round, and then you come to zero, and again some struggles, and you come to zero. But I would like to ask you something like, no, it went. It was linked to. It was linked to that fight that you were saying in the beginning. To what extent this fight was also. I was like, I know it for me, and I would like to know it from you. Every time I fight, I actually hide behind something else. I hide my magic behind something else.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I wanted to ask you. So, what were you aware of about yourself that had to be, thrown in the fight? And
Wow, what a great question. Yeah, the magic that I be, and then somehow I thought that like hiding behind all the excess body size, somehow made I like thought that I was invisible, and in a lot of ways I was, and then obviously it's harder to be invisible when you're a larger size. So it just was this really weird place to be in, and I was in that place for quite a long time, and it yeah, it was just a not an easy time, and the depression that I had as well, and a lot of body things, with pain and not ease moving around, and I couldn't do a lot of things that I used to be able to do, actively, and so that kind of just all escalated over time. And then I was just like, well, I guess this is just my lot in life, and I'll just guess I'll have to make the best of it.
oh my God, what did change all this? What is, because if you say, I guess this is my, my destiny. I
Yeah,
have, ooh, and what did it change? What changed that?
yeah. So it just got to be like, all right, well, I guess it doesn't seem to really matter if I diet or I don't diet. I'm pretty much the same size up and down, 30, 40 pounds. Okay. Um, and then about a year ago, I just was having a lot of body pain again. And I had, I've been a certified facilitator for 7 years now. And I had, I did definitely had judgments about myself that I couldn't really talk too much about what I knew about bodies because I couldn't get my own act together. And so I had that judgment on myself. And I was like, well, I guess it's just this one area that, I'm just not, and I would run clearings and all of those things. And yet it was just this thing.
This thing. What was that thing,
This
Betsy?
that I can't overcome. And then, I realized that I had that point of view that, like, wait a minute, if your point of view is creating your reality, right?
Oh,
Yeah. So it was, and the point of view that came in really loudly after I had made some changes was how it had been a struggle my whole life, how it was a fight, how it was hard. And I realized that and went, oh my God, is any of that even my point of view?
oh.
Yeah. And went, holy crap, no, none of this is actually my point of view. Oh, and like returned it all to sender. Like, okay. But before that, what happened was I was feeling really stiff and in a lot of pain and feeling very old. Like my mother is 90 years old, and I thought, oh my God, I feel as old as my mother. And
Wow.
and then I
That's,
was, yeah. And
oh,
that was my defining moment of, no, this is not going to be the rest of my life, because I could see what I had started to create there.
oh, okay, cool. Okay, so let
Okay.
me let
Yeah.
me pitch in here. Okay, so let
Yeah.
me pitch in. So your point of view creates your reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, knowing that you started and you stopped so many times, so
Yep.
many, you tried all these kind of stuff.
Yep.
At the end of the day, when you have an idea, a brilliant idea, and you want to actualize it, is it a question of will? Is it a question of willpower? Is it a question of
Mm.
discipline? What is it?
Yeah.
Because after, in my case, I know after I tried, I don't know how many times,
Sure.
even opening my ears to something that would touch slightly upon this would be no go. No, 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 no. You're not going there. I know it all. So what is it? It's
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
I
That
know it all. You will not come and tell me because I tried it all and it didn't work.
Yes, there's all of that too. And how many people did project to you? If you would just, it's just a matter of willpower. It's just if you wouldn't put that food in your mouth, if you wouldn't blah, 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 blah. I've believe me, I've heard it all. I've said it all to myself. I've judged the heck out of me and my body and my failings and all of it. Like, forever and ever, like just this constant loop of how much I suck and how come I can't get that piece of my life under control. And like all of it, I would say it over and over and over
So
to
wait, I'll
myself.
stop you. I'll stop you. I heard something nice.
Yeah,
I cannot get that piece of life under control.
yep,
Is it about the control, or is it about losing the control or
yeah.
getting rid of that control?
Well, that's what I thought it was for forever. And that was where I realized that I had bought into that point of view, that it was somehow this huge failing on my part, that I couldn't get under control, that I couldn't, and all the things that I couldn't do, all the things I had failed at, all the diets, the hundreds of pounds I'd gained and lost over the years, blah, 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 right? All of that, that was just piling on me, literally and emotionally. So when I had that moment of, this is not going to be the rest of my life.
Can you
And
remember when it happened? Can
yeah,
you remember
I
that?
actually I actually have date is like seared in my brain. It was December 18th of 2019.
Wow.
And
And I
yeah,
I can grasp that this was a huge opening in your world. Just like it was December 18.
yeah, totally. And it was, and I think one of the reasons that, besides just like having this moment of no, was that it was a week before Christmas. And I went to, well, why don't I just wait and start something January 1st, January 2nd. Do I really want to deprive myself of blah, 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 blah? And it was like, you know what? Yes, your body is screaming at you, screaming at you. And, you have asked for more. And I had been asking for more communion with my body and to not be separated from her. And I would have times where I had more communion and then kind of just disappear from her again. And I was like, no, you're going to do what your body is asking you to do. You
Wow.
have been a control freak of magnitude with your body. How about you do it differently this time, is basically what I was saying to myself. And then I started conversations with my body. And yeah, it was just, and really think, okay, body, basically I surrender, and I'm going to listen to you now.
When you said that I surrender and I listen to you now,
Yeah.
is so okay. There are three things that come up, like in every other project. We might start with when the time is right.
Yeah.
Like you said, before Christmas, maybe I'll wait until.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that I know. When people have brilliant ideas, that's the first thing they might go to. It's not the right time. How do you
Yeah.
recognize the right time?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in this case, my body took over and was like, Betsy, hello. Right. And she'd been getting louder and louder, and I was ignoring all of the things that she was telling me. And so, to the point when I felt like I'd been, run over by a truck or hit by a 2x4, and I couldn't move. I could barely move. And it was, okay, she's got, all right, you have my attention.
And what did she ask from
Yeah.
you?
So so she asked for me to listen, basically. And it was, okay, I'm listening. I'm getting out of the way. I am not going to, and it was like, I'm not going to force anything on you. So,
Oh, I'm not going to
yeah,
force anything on you. Oh.
yeah. So, because I went to, well, I guess maybe I'll do my liquid diet again, and I'll do da 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 da. And then it was like, no, wait a minute. No, you're going to ask your body what she requires. And so it's like,
Wow.
okay, so whatever that is, and like to get out of my point of view of it's going to be this, or it's going to be this, or it can only be that, or whatever. It's like,
So
yeah.
that's, to me, this is like, okay, if you've tried so many things
Mm-hmm.
and you saw they didn't work, if you want a different result, what else can you ask, and who
Exactly.
are you going to listen? Because what you're saying,
Yeah.
I recognize that whenever there's this space of not knowing exactly where to go, I go to everything I did, everything I knew, I had a success or not a success with it, and I try to reapply it. But actually, what I'm doing is I'm tapping into a past that no longer exists, that possibly doesn't even apply to me any
Yes,
longer.
exactly.
And I force, as you said it, and I force myself to actualize something which is not ease and which
Yep.
is so solid, but which also makes me right. So can you talk about this, the willingness of no longer be right
Yeah.
when you're listening to new things? How is that for you?
Well, it's been a magical adventure, and it's been the easiest thing I've ever done.
This was not the answer I was expecting, Betsy. I wanted something, I want something to do. No, actually, I was looking forward for you when you come to this moment when it's actually ease and
Yeah.
it's actually joy and it's actually fun, when
Yeah.
you're finally willing to listen to something else.
Yeah.
And what about all those projections? Because I can imagine people continue to project on you that you're not doing that right, that you should be
Oh,
doing
yeah.
something else, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
they like this and that like that. In those
Mhm.
moments, do you, I mean, I know of myself that I like to be by myself. I'm like this, the lone bear. And if I have to lick a wound, I would rather lick
Mm.
them by myself. But how was it for you? Is
Mhm.
there anybody who, you can not lean on, but you know that it's going to be there to fluff some warm air under the wings when you're
Aw,
kind of, how is it with you?
what a beautiful question. I, wow. So there's been a lot of me in my past of looking everywhere else for that. And this, so yes, I have amazing people in my life who are really supportive of my choices, whatever they are. Some people, it doesn't matter, others are, like really, there's just been so many wonderful things that have come out of this. And I'm also fluffing my own self. So and that's something new as well. So it's like, how amazing is it that it's never ever too late. And
I
you
was
can, right? You can always choose something new and something different.
You can always choose something new and something different. And this is something very beautiful that you said, that there are people who support us, um,
Mm-hmm.
and we might ask for contribution, whatever the idea,
Yeah,
whatever the. And to me, it's like, what if we are the source
yeah,
for everything? And it's not that we cannot do that. We can ask for contribution, we can receive that. But at the end of the day, even if there is nobody out there,
Mhm.
would you be still being that, Betsy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's something new as well for me, is really like knowing that I've got this. After, so many years of trying and failing, succeeding, failing, all of it. And then just to know that no matter what, I actually have this, and I'm way stronger and more resilient than I've ever given myself credit for. So like looking at how could you use that in your own life? It's what if you actually are far more amazing than you've ever acknowledged, and that you are such a huge gift to yourself as well as every person who is lucky enough to know you.
Wow. Wow. I'm like,
Yeah, I
thank
know. I saw you going
you.
like that.
Thank you for that. And it's a very interesting moment, because I remember my father saying to me once, "Who are you to not share the gift that you truly be with the whole world?
Wow.
Who gave you that right?" So that has been always this thing of yes, but yes, but yes, and listening to you is like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
never too late. And
it
somebody
isn't.
wrote it here. It's never too late. You can always choose something different.
And
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 that,
that's so, so true. And it's kind of been my motto lately. Really, it's never too late. And you can always choose something different. So with the listening to my body and the communion that I've had with her this past year, and how easy it's been for the the change in my body, the change in me inside, and it's also not my primary focus.
that's a good one.
Yeah,
So more on that, please. What do you mean
yeah.
it's not my primary focus?
Well,
I
any
mean,
of
you should be concerned only with that, right? I
right,
mean, if you have an idea, you have to be obsessed with how to bring it into the world, right? This is what I learned. Whatever you,
well,
wherever, go for
yeah,
it. And now you're
right,
saying it's not your primary focus. Okay,
yeah.
more on this,
Wait,
please.
wait a minute. So it truly, like in the past, and I really was looking, there were a lot of things that I did differently this time that now looking at it, I'm like, oh, and this is one of them where in the past, like let's say I had decided to go on a liquid diet. That would have been my like focus
Your
24/7,
Bible.
right, the force of it, and da 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 da, and planning out all the things, and I was like, all of that got thrown away this time, and it was just asking my body, tell me, show me, are we hungry, do we want to eat, what would we like to eat? And it's like, and then the rest of the time it's just not the only thing that I am like primarily focused on, where in the past I was. And what that has allowed, it's allowed my so much freedom for my body to show me what she would actually like to be and create.
That's
So
so, that's so, that's so inspiring to me. Simply because,
thank you.
okay, to me, is this like when you make something the primary focus, it's like willing to control it to be the, to have that outcome. You're so into, you have to have a certain result.
Yes, exactly.
And then
Exactly.
instead of listening, it might be that today you really would like to eat I don't know, my favorite are French fries,
Mhm.
and then tomorrow not. Or
Right,
maybe your body says, I want more liquids, bring me
right.
some water. Or but it starts with a question. And when you're so focused,
Yeah.
there is no question, there's only conclusion. It has to
Oh,
go
yeah.
like this.
Right.
And I would like to extrapolate it a bit to any other idea,
Mhm.
any other idea that we would like to actualize and make it a reality. There's a difference in my eyes between being obsessed with something and being animated by
Yes.
something.
Yes, exactly. And so you've got, when you have the conclusion and the force, it narrows, you get to this, very myopic, narrow possibilities. And think about when you're doing that to your body,
Yeah.
and then like you just said, the questions and the choices and the possibilities and what that creates, you can just, so the difference between the constriction or the expansion, what would you like to choose for what you'd like to create with your body?
You know what I just pictured right now? I went with the contraction and the focus. Is like trying to fit in a pair of jeans which is 3 sizes smaller. You get into that and then you hold your breath and you hold your tongue and your eyes are popping out.
Yeah.
And it would have been so much easier and so much, how should I say, joyful if you had asked your body, hey body, what would you like to put on today? What would make you happy?
Exactly.
And it might be that you're naked, but at least your body's not compressed to something that's absolutely no fun to be in.
Exactly.
I read a quote from Georgia that your being is never going to be a size small.
Nope.
So can you talk about this
Mhm.
thing with the being and the body and the shape and the size of the body and the hugeness of the being, and how did you bring them together? Because in the beginning you said I was so disconnected from my
Oh,
body.
yeah.
So
Totally.
how it's not a how, but what helped you bring them together?
Yeah. Well, letting go of control.
Again, that
Yeah, that damn control thing, and and saying, all right, well, and really that willingness to be in communion. And you talk about a beautiful gift. It is such a beautiful gift to be in that space and realize my body has never let me down, ever, ever. And my body has never judged me. I have
you
been the
don't know how
one,
this comes in.
Jesus, I have been the one judging myself forever. But my body, like when I really started having those conversations with her, she's like, "Body, I'm so sorry." And she's like, "Okay." Like it's like the cute little puppy dog that is just always happy that you're there. And it's my body's the same thing. Like,
At the end
okay,
of the day, you keep this body alive. So this body is grateful and happy
yeah,
to have you inhabiting it. So to me, it's like,
yeah,
oh wow, it's wow. Thank you for that.
you're
And it's
welcome.
this. It's like the same with every and any idea, like any project, any. They
Hmm.
are so grateful to have our energy into them and
Yes,
to bring them into the world and to
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Todd, Betsy, wow. Thank
yeah.
you so much for
You're welcome. And
this take on.
the only other thing I would like to add that just popped in is, would you treat any friend the way you might have treated your body? And for me, I was like, dear God, anybody else would have long been gone, right? The way I was treating my body. So, you might want to ask yourself, like, how could you create, a beautiful co-creationship with your body? And those are the questions that I ask now. Like, what could I create that I've never created before? How can I out-create anything that I've created so far? And, how would I like to be treated? And am I treating my body the same way I would like to be treated. So when I was getting no's with some of those questions, that's one of the things that helped me stop so much separation. So, yeah.
That's absolutely beautiful when you said that.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm like, I want more, I want more, and I know you have more. And I know you have this bite-size program, the Yumminess bite-size program. And I would like to invite people to discover more of this. And this is also, how should I say, I invited you here because this is one of the ideas that many of us have and never start to actualize it like you did. And to me, you are a huge inspiration. Actually, you know that you triggered something with one of the Zooms in the Yumminess program. And it's like everything that we discussed here can be applied to anything in life.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Betsy,
Absolutely.
this was a hot conversation, I would say. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being with us tonight. In our cases in Europe, it's early morning your place. And is there anything else you would like to add, to
Thank you. Like, thank you for just this amazing conversation. And, I just, wherever you are in your life, you can always choose something different, no matter what is going on. If you're not happy with things, and even if you are, what else could you add to your life to have it be even more amazing?
my God.
Thank you, honey. This
Well,
was
thank
so
you.
much fun, and I hope I can come back and play again another time.
We will play again, Betsy. And for those who don't know, we already played several times, and you
Yes.
you can listen to our interviews because there's always something amazing coming out of this. And
Mm-hmm.
what I would like to end with is it might be a story of success, as some would label it, but it's actually the journey that
Mm-hmm.
reveals the gem that you truly be. So,
Oh, beautifully said.
I mean, hello. So, thank you,
Thank
Betsy.
you,
Thank
honey.
you, everybody. And how does it get any better than that?
Bye, everybody.